it'd be really cool to have like you and Brent and everyone together doing that. The Unity episode. He's got to go masturbate one more time. Dude can't control himself.
No lube again?
Dude, yeah, I know. One sip of any alcohol, in this case whiskey, and the guy just
Well, I mean,
going
look,
at it like
look
a
at this.
jackhammer.
Look at this bottle. You see how it's dripping like that? I think you just get some started.
Honestly, yeah. It's almost as wet as he is right now. God,
Is he spitting on it?
You hear him in there? Wow, dude. Oh, God, dude. That was a loogie. Or, I can't tell. It could have been a cum shot.
That's a loud, ugly cum shot.
If you can't tell, there's something wrong.
I guess it really depends on your O face. Doesn't matter what my opinion
You're gonna have
is.
to leave one more time.
Can you contain yourself for?
I got it on the table.
For 5 seconds. Okay, cool. As long as you got it. Hello and welcome to Strange Gaming's Happy Hour. And I am your host, John Pettit, Handsome John. And to my left.
The dispatcher, Mark Plover.
And to my right,
Michael Tumbleweed Kepley.
Michael Tumbleweed.
You had to think about his
Kepley.
name for a second.
Yeah, I did. Well, I thought about introducing myself as Brent, but
Don't do that.
Brent the Jesterhead
You don't want to be
Metcalfe.
Brent. Here's where we like to talk about our gaming and tech news. And thank you for joining us. I always like talking about all the stuff that happens in the world, but Pokemon, Sun and Shield will lose. Global Link, not important. Future DC films, including R-rated films, trash. Facebook acquires Beat Saber developer. Interesting, but also not that interesting. And Valve no longer making Stream Controller. Boo-hoo. And what I
no one
like to
liked it
do
anyway.
is just talk about the important.
The important
That was weak, Mark. I even looked at you, was like, I'm ready for it, buddy.
Honestly,
Give it to me. And he's
can
like,
we-
nope.
Look, guys, I'm here for a memorable. Can we redo this? We need some unity on this table. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So just no, not redo the intro. No, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Right now. Okay. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
The important
Boom.
Thank you. Good
Yeah.
God, man. What a weak little
Yeah, I
monkey.
know.
You're just
Give me a
gonna
good
look at me
experience,
I'm
Mark.
gonna-
Come on.
I'm going to shit on
What are you
this.
doing?
Why am I the one?
So first off, we're going to start out with my story, which is actually pretty important. Riot is paying $10 million in a settlement lawsuit that started about a year ago. That was first brought about through Jason Schreier and through many complaints through women within the workforce over at Riot, where they were being paid less than their male counterparts and actually treated pretty horribly. As in, if one instance there was a list made, pardon the vulgar language, but this was a quote, the girls that I would fuck list. That was pretty public amongst the males. Obviously kind of a hostile working environment.
Just a little, you know.
Now, the good thing is that their lawyers are the ones that came to the table for the payment, and that they are going to distribute this payment through equal means based on when they were hired, how long they were hired for, and what their position was. So obviously that everybody gets what they kind of deserve out of the settlement, which is all well and good, but there's a problem. The people that were causing the toxic work environment haven't been dealt with. They're still working there, and as far as I know, there hasn't been any punishments.
Well, that's a
Handed down.
problem.
You would
Well,
think,
do they-
right?
do they,
Especially
like, know
since
for sure
you
who it
just paid
was?
$10 million for some of their bad behavior.
Yeah, so
Wouldn't the question be? And I'm. It was last minute that I was invited to this, but
Yeah, and I'm proud of you. For
do they
coming.
know like who did it? Right? Have they been identified?
Yes.
Okay.
These individuals were pretty blatant in. I'm not saying their names because I really don't feel like getting into it, and I don't want to
Yeah.
give them any power. But they are identified, and they have. It's pretty well known who the.
Who created the list? Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Or not, and that's not the only issue either. Like there was obvious harassment from, being propositioned for sex on multiple occasions for increase in pay or a job opportunity as well. So it's kind of bad.
That's really upsetting. I have to look into the story. This one is like kind of near and dear to my heart.
You're a Riot guy.
Yeah, I've played League for God forever now, since like season 2. So I've always like really, hyped up the company because if I'm not mistaken, they came from Blizzard, who's another company that I really enjoyed, and then Blizzard also going through their own trauma right
Yep.
now.
Oh, yeah.
So really bad time to be a fan of any of Kepley's game companies.
Does the company make a MOBA? Yes. they're probably at fault somewhere.
Well,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of people are like, in one point that I want to get to is that a lot of people are praising them for getting to this point where, hey, you're starting to fix what's going on. And there's a lot of people within the company saying, no, things are changing.
Yeah.
This is a progression, which is all well and good. But I feel like it's a half measure step, which is just to get people off their backs, get out of the negative light in the media, and really put their name out there, especially with a lot of new content that's coming out.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not taking steps to fire, or I'm assuming they're taking steps to punish the people that are responsible for this, but
If they are, they haven't said anything about it.
see, that's something they're going to handle internally. That's not something they're going to talk about.
Don't you think that would have already been done, especially after they wrote that $10 million check?
Yeah,
So actually, I just knowing Riot's history, I disagree with you to an extent, but it depends on who it is, right? And so like with following them so long, granted I don't know them on a personal level, but the two CEOs or whatever they are now after Tencent paid for them,
Yeah.
you have Mark Merrill and Brandon Beck, I think his name, Brandon Risebeck.
Yeah, that
Those
sounds
are the
right.
two CEOs. So they generally seem like pretty cool dudes, and like they seem like they really care about their company and their investments. So I'm sure that if there's a way for them to handle it, they're probably doing what they can.
Yeah.
But they are also people that like to, for the most part, be pretty transparent in what's going on with anything they can. So to counter your point, I think if something was being done, they would have probably said something. So I'm actually a bit more concerned that nothing's being done.
Yeah,
and that's kind
or
of where
nothing's
I'm
being
at.
said at least.
Like,
Yeah.
I am happy that there has been some closure and some resolution for some people, but you also have to remember too, the people that took out settlements beforehand from leaving the company, and they I don't know what it's called. You guys get it because you guys make enough money. What do you get, like golden parachute kind of thing? You get a
severance package?
Severance package. Thank you. Sorry, I'm not rich enough for a severance package.
Me either,
To be
buddy.
fair, to be fair, neither am I.
I'm just making fun of you. That's all.
I'm also not rich. Let's be clear here.
You're a lot richer than me. They got their severance packages. They're not entitled to any of these funds,
Yeah.
and that's just because they left the company due to these toxic terms,
Well,
which I don't feel like is totally all that fair.
Unfortunately, severance packages are kind of an unavoidable thing to some extent. Once you get to a certain level of management or hierarchy within a company, you're guaranteed a severance package no matter who terminates the employment. Or actually, I'm sorry, unless you terminate.
I think
the
within
employment
that
of the
severance package, you
employee.
also include I won't sue you for anything, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
non-
Non-disclosures are all in there. What is it? What's the litigation clauses or litigation documents are generally signed, meaning that any kind of legal disputes are going to be handled in private litigation. There's going to be no legal
Yep.
proceedings.
I mean,
And
personally,
another-
I would believe.
and
Yeah,
non-compete
that's true.
clauses, a bunch of other stuff
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So
Another question I would have on that is, obviously you guys have read into it more, but like, if nothing's being changed, like, are a number of the victims still there, or have most of those victims like left due to the lawsuit?
There
right?
was no specific numbers given for anybody, including what the percentage was that they were getting from the company. No one has spoke about anything about that. Like, not even. There's some individuals on Twitter who have spoken about it, but there hasn't been like a list delivered.
Because
Okay.
the only like devil's advocate, right? Like, why would they not do any action that I could think of is, maybe the victims are gone, and so yeah, you still have the problem people there, but like you just hope that maybe through like internal fines or punishments you can.
Anybody who's investing into a company like that would throw up at that ideal.
Uh,
Because they're looking at a possibly maybe the next one's going to be $100 million issue,
Yeah, well,
not a $10 million issue.
I
Now,
don't
granted, that's
disagree
only
with you.
0.00000 like 65% of what Riot is worth.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't disagree with you. It could be impacted, but like, I mean, that lawsuit came out a while ago. I remember you guys talking about it on the last podcast, and like this year, it did not slow down any partnerships they had as far as like the esports size goes.
Yeah.
And so they made a lot of growth working with Tencent, who's a very wealthy company. They weren't really impacted, it seems.
It's because, believe it or not a lot of people are really in the know in the news. Like,
Yeah.
we're thankful for everybody that watches shows like this because we feel like everybody should know.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
want everybody to be in the know because in certain instances, you might not want to be supporting Activision or Blizzard and Riot and all
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
just because of their business practices. And a lot of people, if they heard about it, they probably would actually stop being a part of it because they might be victims themselves.
That's the best way to get change. Your voice carries so much weight.
I mean, this isn't an isolated incident amongst this company. It happens everywhere, and I can only assume that many, many women out there and males, for instance, I'm not going to discredit that they might also have dealt with similar instances, and some weird company out there where females dominate the world, and they just want to make fun of us, and
I mean that There is some discrimination or some discrimination that comes there, a double standard that kind of comes there too. Of like it's always the men that are doing it, but by the same token, it's always the females that are getting victimized.
Believe it or not,
there's double standard.
It was like 45 to 55% when it came to actually there was a statistic that came out about battery at home, and it turns out like 45% of the time it's the woman beating the man.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff that like you just look at like a number.
I'm a walking double standard here. Apparently, I had no idea that was even a statistic that was kept track like that. So
you know that 80% of statistics are wrong. Elon Musk said that.
80% of the time it works every time.
That's 50% of the time.
Speaking of lawsuits, isn't Pokemon
80%.
having an issue right now?
I thought we were talking about good things.
Good things.
Oh no, that's right.
You switched it up on me, son.
Oh no, I was thinking of the shinies being able to be bred.
Well, that could also be.
yeah.
Which is also
I'm
another
super
thing.
excited about that too.
Yeah, so small plug, you can get shiny starters. You just have to breed them with a Japanese Ditto for the highest things. But to go to your article, now that I'm back on board,
Because this entire episode is just gonna be a straight up downer. So
Aw.
yeah, so the Pokemon Company, which I am not educated at all. Brent would have been great here. Too bad he's a slacker.
I know.
But the Pokemon Company is trying to find out, reach out, and sue the leakers of the Pokemon content that happened before. And this is like pretty. I guess like I understand they're upset, but it's off the back of like a great week where they were like topping sales charts. It's like one of the best Pokemon releases in forever.
Was the leak before the release?
Yeah. So it was like before the game came out, you could go on Reddit or wherever, and the people were leaking pictures that are now found out from the strategy guide of the game. And so what
They
they've
were
done-
literally taking pictures of the strategy guide itself.
yeah, just of like the Pokemons, they were leaking certain Pokemon. I think it was like a good number of them got leaked.
I
But
think
so
at
what
least
the
half
Pokemon
of them were by the time the game released.
Yep. So what the Pokemon Company has done is they went and they hired forensic experts, so that way they could try to track down and find the people that caused these leaks. And they have found 4 of the people, but they have found their Discord usernames. They have not figured out who they actually are yet. So they're opening a lawsuit with Seattle to try to get Discord and
To release that information.
I think it's 4chan to release their account info because they have some of their 4chan accounts.
oh yeah,
and
they've
some
got
of their
they've got IP addresses
Discord.
in the logs related to their accounts, like last login.
Yeah,
Well,
so
if
they're
they're
addresses, that
smart
kind of
enough, they used a VPN anyway.
Yeah, but I see. To me,
But then you can just follow the train to the VPN company and say who used your account at this time, that kind of thing.
yep.
Yeah, but you would have to get a warrant for that. And, that would take
Well,
forever.
but that's what they're already doing.
That's what they're
it's a
working on.
subpoena.
So how much
there's
are
an
they?
active
How
court
much are they
case open.
asking to sue them for? Do they say?
If they did, I forgot.
Or are they just looking for punishment?
I think they're just looking for fines
bring down the
because
hammer.
they gave an insight. The article I read, I think it was in Kotaku, but they gave a snippet from like the papers they served and just like why they're being sued because it's a pretty strenuous thing apparently like for the strategy guide makers
Yeah.
to work with them. I didn't realize how like complex the process was. But they like give a snippet of like you have to sign all these NDAs. Only the shipping company can like see the guide and print it. But they have to sign NDAs on it. They went into like if you're a game tester, you have like made accounts that have really restricted network access, and only these set accounts can access the game. And they talked about like how strict and strenuous the process is.
Yep.
I'm sure I missed some details because
I could only imagine how strict they are because this is one of their main properties. This is something they wanted to go out without a hitch. And there's a lot of people that didn't want to be spoiled. But people like Brent, they're like, my curiosity's peaked now. And a lot of people may have actually been kind of offset from these leaks saying, there's not enough Pokemon. I don't like this. And I might not just go with
right.
it.
So there's 2 sides of that coin, right? There's that one, but then there's also the one that builds hype. And they're like, holy crap, this is awesome. And like, I would argue that maybe the leaks helped the game a lot.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think it did. I think that constant stream, little bit by little bit, was actually enough to keep them in the news and in the know by those who really wanted the game.
Keeps their
and
keeps
those
their
who
name
didn't really care one way or another, I don't think were affected.
It
Yep.
just keeps their name in everyone's minds. Just like, oh hey, by the way, don't forget about this kind of thing.
Exactly.
You
dude.
know, I think they're actually not trying to sue them. I think that's just a hoax. I think they're trying to find them so they can give them a thank you present.
I'll tell you, this sounds like some Nintendo.
Yeah, it
Like-
definitely sounds like
100%.
Nintendo 100%.
So Nintendo is definitely the kind of company that would go after people for something small. Like for example, you can't post Nintendo content. Okay. So for example, you can't post Nintendo content on YouTube because without
can
them
now.
without them taking a good chunk of it.
Not
or most
anymore.
of it.
Oh,
That's
really?
gone now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because there was a time whenever they would take like a 50% cut of whatever it is you made on the other
And that's
side.
why a lot of great content games like Mario Party and all that just stopped being played.
Yep.
But with that said, though, it's very clear that this, at least from I don't understand the affiliation, right? So I could be wrong here, but this in no way has mentioned Nintendo. This is strictly the Pokemon company.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, it's not Game Freak who's publishing the game. It is the Pokemon company.
It's probably a Nintendo or a Game Freak subsidiary, one or the other.
Yeah, I was about to say it's probably an intermediary company that works on behalf of Pokemon only between the two companies because it's a 49-51 split.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so they have them make the decisions based on what they're asking for, and so that way that
Right. I just don't want to like maybe paint the wrong image. Right. It could not be Nintendo. Could just be the
it
Pokemon
just sounds like a
company
Nintendo
itself.
thing. Like they're relentless when it comes to this kind of stuff, and they do not forgive.
Yeah, and I mean, game leaks are so natural in this world we're in that like it does to me it doesn't impact anything. I'm someone that if I really want to play a game like Pokemon, when leaks came out, I'll just avoid it all because I want to be surprised by stuff.
I kind of feel like even playing right now, like I was like, oh, does this Pokemon even have an evolution?
Yeah.
I stopped myself from looking it up because I was like, I'll figure it out later.
Yep.
And then I was like, oh, I need a stone for this one. Cool.
Yeah, I was
That's
the same
awesome.
way. I did not want to know at all. Like, I wanted to know nothing about the starters. I knew the starters from the promo video. That's it. I didn't want to know what their evolutions looked like. Obviously, visually, I could tell what their types were.
Yeah.
But then, like, I didn't want to know what the evolutions were, so I could be surprised. And then I pick Drizzle
D-Rizzle.
Sobble. So I picked Sobble. He becomes Drizzle. Wasn't happy with Drizzle, but then
Sobble.
I get Inteleon. I think Inteleon's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a secret agent guy, so sorry for spoilers for anyone.
No, it's not spoilers at this point in time.
But Inteleon, super awesome. Same thing with Grookey, as I've seen Grookeys evolve form now.
Yep.
Awesome. But yeah, I just
surprisingly useful with a barrier break, I think.
Yeah.
I was like, did not see that move coming, and man, that messed my world up when I was playing with Farfetch. I was like, ooh man,
yeah.
you hurt me.
So, on the note of the Pokemon Company, because I felt like I needed to look this up. The Pokemon Company is a joint holdings company of all Pokemon content, with an equal, it doesn't say actually what the share split is, but with a share split between Nintendo, Game Freak, and Creatures.
So it's kind of all of them,
okay.
then, right?
Yeah, Creatures Company.
Ooh.
So
I bet you that's a part of their physical media stuff.
It's
Yeah.
because remember, companies can own other companies in that respect. They're not just technically considered subsidiaries at that point. They're separate legal entities.
Mm-hmm.
So the Pokemon Company is literally a company that is jointly owned by Nintendo, Game Freak, and
I think it's a way
dude,
for them
honestly,
to keep everything
Creatures.
even.
Honestly, that's great context to have because that means that all of them care.
Yeah, very
You know?
much so. I don't
But
think they
like
would have
I
went
said,
through
this
this
sounds
without.
like some Nintendo shit.
But
so.
but to be fair, like I want it to be known, like normally I don't like care to voice my opinion on this stuff like this, but like I do think that because they're gonna find out who it is. They're on a man on a mission.
Yeah, how about
when
that?
they find
they're
out
on a manhunt.
We will
when
not
they
forgive.
find out, like
We will
I think
not
they need
forget.
they need to take into account like. To me, I imagine that these are just some like young kids that got a hold of something early,
Yeah.
and wanted to post pictures.
Bunch of dumb 20
And I don't want-
They walked into a GameStop or something, like found
Right.
found a guide or whatever, opened it up, took some pictures because they
Right, and
realized
it could be a 14-year-old, whatever. Like I'm not even saying 20-year-old. I'm saying it could be a young kid. If I was a young kid in that, I'd totally like, guys, this is awesome. I made to sneak these pictures. I work, whatever.
Well,
I work
we
at
had-
GameStop.
I mean, we had something like that happen in this household with the Camlink or the game Elgato HD60s Plus.
Yep.
Dylan bought the HD60s Plus, which is a 4K 60 frame capable video recording, like we're using the Camlink now.
Yeah.
He bought that, I think it was a full week or two before its release, but he bought it from the Best Buy because it was sitting on the shelf.
Yep. And he couldn't even use it because the software wasn't available yet.
It wasn't unlocked.
Yep. So he had to email Elgato, and they were.
I'm sure they were
destroyed.
pissed.
Yeah. They
Well,
were like,
'cause-
"Where did you get this from?" So they gave him the software, so he had to use it 2 weeks early.
So the best
Oh,
part
that's
was
awesome.
apparently he walked up to the front of Best Buy. They said the UPC wasn't found whenever he tried to scan it. So they scanned a traditional HD60S.
And they sold
Yeah.
the wrong one to him. Oh,
So,
man. Why is that man so lucky on things
That's a good
that
question.
involve money? It
Well-
is absurd.
It is. But yeah,
How
I mean,
lucky he
that's
is.
just a great example. This happens to everyone. Like I
Simple
think,
merchandise issues, that kind of thing, can easily cause this, which impresses me that they're not going to try to go after the game company
The thing is, I don't think it's kids. And this
or the
is
sales
why.
company on it.
And it's because these tweets were methodically put out very slowly over time. And this is, granted, it is involving 4chan and Discord, but it just seems a little too complicated for someone just to get a hold of this. It had to be someone on the inside, either through the publishing company or someone doing something with game testing.
Mm-hmm.
They might have got a copy of it so they could work
Yeah,
through it.
Or the
100%.
publish, or just simply the publishing company of the
Yeah.
Yeah, my
of the book
point is
itself.
just
The book
more of like,
itself,
if it is someone young, just let it go, man. Like, you had the leaks happen. I understand you're upset, but like, those leaks probably gave you the greatest Pokemon success you've had in a long time.
I
so
agree.
I mean,
Take it.
I
honestly,
100%.
it can't be any worse than the leak PS5.
Why is that a bad?
Have you seen? You know that V-shaped console?
That's just
The-
the dev.
that's
kit.
the
It
dev
was
kit.
confirmed. Like they're actual physical consoles that were
Who
confirmed.
confirmed that?
That I saw a news article that went out.
I
that
think
said
they
that
confirmed it was a dev kit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that happened a while back.
Yeah,
There
but dev
is
kits are
another
always
article that
way
came out.
different.
Absolutely zero chance that is the new console.
I'm gonna look it up now.
You do it, my
Yeah.
friend. Because in that same picture, if you look behind that picture, those are the dev kits for the PS4.
Yeah. The dev kits have always looked like the dev kit for the PS4. I think was like it was like on par with like a giant Xbox, like the original Xbox.
Yeah, like that thing is this massive.
was
Like it
huge.
was huge. It was actually in two pieces, as a matter of
Yeah.
fact. But there's no way. Just gonna put that out there. That is not. No one has ever seen what the PS5 looks like right now. That hasn't supposed to seen it,
Yeah.
or at least it's not available. to the
Sony's
public.
pretty good at keeping that stuff undercover.
I mean, they for the most part do a pretty good job. Though they did have the RE3 remake
Yeah.
get slipped up.
Yep.
But that's
With RE3 confirmed, I mean, it's like one of
I
those things.
think that might have been purposeful. I think it's one of those things where like, let's just test the water, see where we're at here. Everybody's got the hype going. Okay, let's get this going.
Keep it going. Yeah.
I 100% believe that. I know that there are companies in there. They're like, hey man, like I know we're not supposed to announce that
It's
for like
viral
2 weeks,
marketing,
but
dude.
hey,
It's
bro,
work. Look what happened with Pokemon. It's the same exact thing.
same thing, dude.
Everybody's having leaks all of a sudden. What's going on?
Yeah.
It's like we all of a sudden can't control our stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's wild.
Then all of a sudden it's like free PR all over
And
the
it's
place.
almost
Everybody
like
just wants
it's
to talk
and it's
about it
almost
all
like
the
it's
place.
always leaked just a couple weeks beforehand,
know.
like right before we're supposed to sell
Well,
things.
they're talking RE3 is going to be probably within the first 3 months of 2020.
Yeah, I actually have like a whole interesting topic on that I don't know
Yeah.
we should get into. But it's like they're remaking all these Resident Evils, right? If you think about it, Resident Evil 4 is not that long ago. Would they remake that one?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Dude, Resident Evil
Resident
4
Evil
was
4 was
like
like 2013.
dude, but it was like a masterpiece. Like it was good. It was so good.
It's one of the crowd favorites.
Yeah.
From what I understand, there's a lot of people who are hardcore one,
Yeah.
and I totally understand why.
And Resident Evil 4 was the first time they changed away from the style of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And so like you've confirmed 1, 2, and 3 now. Like, are you ever going to touch 4? Like, you may remaster it or whatever that is, but I don't think you remake it.
Well, Valentine is one of the more of the favorite characters out of the franchise.
What'd you find?
So it was a misleading headline. The
Isn't
controller,
it always? You clickbait bastards, you.
the controller design was like for the official release for the controller design was confirmed.
Yeah, the controller was. I saw
But the
that.
dev kit isn't considered an early prototype, or that's how PS5 Insider apparently
Yeah.
released it.
That's
so.
how PlayStation always gets you. They slip up with the dev kit and you're like, what is this? Oh my God. And then you're
Yeah.
just like, and then they reveal it and you're like, oh.
The funny
There's
part is
actually
it's
a
not even
story talking
PlayStation
about the
that does that,
PlayStation 3. They kept, I forgot what the, forgive me for forgetting what the
You're not
person's
forgiven.
name is, but he would come in and said, we have to make it cheaper. We have to make it cheaper. So the guy purposely made it look cheap. And the guy would come in and smash it on the ground. And every time he'd come in and he didn't like it, he'd smash it on the ground. And then he told him, he goes, this is supposed to be the thing that has the best hardware that our company is relying on to make money. It cannot look cheap.
Yeah.
We need to make it cheap without it being cheap.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was a really interesting story. Like saying, like showing,
It's really
like,
a complex thing to do.
it really is. I mean, if you look at the PS4, it looks nice, slim, it's beautiful. But, much like other leaderships in companies, sometimes they change. And
That's true.
when they do, things can just fall apart. Tell me about it, Google.
Like Google. I don't want to be weird. Anyway,
Don't want to be weird or anything, but I just was.
we just found out today. Tuesday was today, December 3rd?
3. Trace.
Yeah.
3rd.
Senior.
The co-CEOs, the original founders of Google, the co-CEOs of Alphabet, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, have both stepped down simultaneously
That's very interesting.
and handed it over to, oh God.
I'm assuming there wasn't a
forget his-
ceremony.
I always forget his name. The CEO of Google.
Usually when royalty steps down, there's usually a large party.
Yeah.
Especially for very, very, very ungodly wealthy people.
Sundar Pichai. They have handed over the throne of Alphabet to Sundar Pichai. And he is currently and still will continue serving as the CEO of Google alongside his CEO role of Alphabet at the same time.
That seems like a pretty heavy crown. I mean, that's a lot of gold.
Yeah. How does one
How
man rule
does
two
one man
kingdoms?
do that, really?
Honestly, I don't feel like Alphabet really has a ton to focus on as far as that goes. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they just, like, for the most part, their companies have pretty good autonomy. They maybe just report back to say, this is what we're doing, this is how that works, that kind of thing. Short of Google deciding that they're going to, or Alphabet deciding that they're going to acquire another company, what else are you going to do? Like, the way that
You're telling me
Google's
being the CEO of Alphabet, one of the probably richest companies in the world, is boring?
I'm going to say it probably doesn't have a whole lot to do.
Man, I want that job.
Yeah. But
I don't do anything in my job for way less money.
more than likely, the way that that's going to work, anyways, he's still going to serve primarily as the CEO of Google, because the way that most things work as far as new Alphabet companies that get formed, they start out as Google subsidiaries, Google or Google projects that work their way out. Like Wave, was it Wave? The self-driving car project or whatever, that started out under
I think
Google.
that was Wave, yeah.
And it is now its own separate company with LiDAR and all that stuff, and all the rights to that being transferred over to another Alphabet subsidiary separated from Google.
Fair enough.
That kind of thing. So
Kind of like Google's the R&D, and then they just keep making all these little other companies.
pretty much. I mean, Google is pretty much their primary powerhouse anyway, because they have the most income. So Alphabet doesn't really have to handle as much money anyway, unless they're doing
Well, there's not a
transfer
transfer
funds.
of funds.
Yeah, unless they're doing a transfer of funds between companies, it really doesn't matter. So, Sundar's going to have his hands full, I think, because being the CEO of Google by itself is already I would imagine, a very taxing and
Position. Yeah.
very busy position.
Especially with Stadia coming out and kind of like flopping a little bit. I'm sure that everybody's kind of rushing around.
Yeah, well,
Shut your mouth. Farming Simulator 19, bro. They made up.
Did they really?
made up.
did it actually
Nice.
get released? I didn't check.
Dude, yeah, you can download
yeah.
it right now. Farming Simulator 19 for
Download
free, bro. The Platinum Edition. Platinum, bro.
But
So-
you're going to start with wheat?
I think so, dude. I'm so stoked.
I had the most interesting. I was telling Dylan about this. I had the most interesting message. I was playing Trials on Stadia the other day, and I had probably the most interesting message. Your game is offline.
Yeah. The game is offline.
Stadia, I'm still playing the game, but Trials told me
Say that
you're
again,
now
so-
offline.
Someone was in the server room and was like,
Yeah, there's 2 Ethernet plugs. He's like, which one disconnects the server?
This one causes
This
everyone
one
to be
disconnects the
upset.
user. This one disconnects the server from the internet. But what?
Hey,
It's
man.
an internet-based product.
look.
How does that happen?
Look. Okay. You guys just got to hold it down, okay?
Well, I mean, you can technically be playing online by playing offline. You know what I mean?
Bro.
Like, you're not a part of
Yeah,
like,
but
the
I
network.
didn't. I
that is
didn't input it for
available.
that. Like I didn't
Okay.
input to say go in offline mode or anything special like that. No.
Okay.
Stadia White Knight here, okay? I will fly this
Why you gotta
flag
be a white
proudly. Okay, so the reason I'm a big fan of Stadia is because we have a very high-tech home with lots of power users. Stadia sucks here, okay?
It does.
But when I go an hour out of the city to my parents' home in the middle of the country, okay, where there's actual farms and we don't need to simulate it,
You're gonna really enjoy that latency.
okay? No, I get nothing. It's
I'll say-
flawless.
I'll say how
What?
bad it.
Flawless. It is 50 times better than this house.
Wow.
50 times. Wireless, bro. Everything.
I think it's your infrastructure that's the problem. It's not Stadia. We might have to do a retest.
Dude, I was so
mean-
mind blown.
We can do that.
You have no idea. I'm sitting there, I'm like telling my dad, I'm like bracing my dad for just total defeat, right? I'm like, hey, look, I'm testing this product. I know you really like tech stuff. You seem real interested right now. I just need to start letting you down slowly. Okay, and I was
This
like,
is
Let's bring
probably
the
going to be
expectations
bad.
down.
I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool, but like sometimes the picture is real choppy because the connection's not that good. And he's just sitting back in his chair. He's like, no, son, our connection's good. We got good internet out here now. And so doing dad things. And then he's hyping me up. I'm like, okay, dude, I plug it in. And then I start playing. I load up Destiny 2 and I'm ready for this train wreck. And as I play for a couple hours, dude, it is the best experience.
See, I played over at Sean's, and the lag in control was like a solid half second. I was like,
I'm telling you, you go an hour from Charlotte. I don't want to say it because I don't want my parents to get DDoSed or whatever. But like you go an hour outside of Charlotte, the best connection for Stadia.
Okay.
So, I mean, okay, so we're looking at the CEO stepping down. Was there anything else that happened? Or
No.
was it just
So-
these 2 people that left?
It's pretty much the 2 of them. They decided to step down, and their quote came out anyway was that they never were people to stick around if they knew that there was a better option or better opportunity for the company. So they decided to step down because Sundar's done such a fantastic job of running Google that he may as well just run Alphabet as a whole.
Now, as far as we know, they still own, I'm sure, whatever stocks they still own. They didn't say that they had completely separated from the company. They just stepped down in those roles.
No, I would imagine that, like, I didn't see anything about it specifically, but I would imagine they're still serving on Alphabet's board.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still
That's where I wanna
they're
be.
still founders of the company. I would
this-
imagine they still own their shares, and probably still get decent revenue or decent
Returns.
pays, or payouts from Google on that. So
So just like basic question, but like you're way more in the know about this. Like, is this even that big of a deal?
It can be, because usually in a change in leadership, especially a significant one, there usually means that there's a huge change in direction in something. So usually they take someone else who has the idea and the vision that they had previously talked about within board meetings, saying this is where we want to go, and they say, well, is this individual the person that we want as leading? It's much like a coach of a football team. He was really good in 1978, but it's 1998 now, and
Right,
this
and
isn't the same football.
And that's
game.
kind of my point. Like, is Google's had a lot of like, bad flack come their way lately. I mean, even last week, I don't know if you guys talked about it, but I saw on your list of topics, like there was this thing where like Google was found out to be partnering with this weird company.
Yeah,
And so like
that
so-
goes against human
so-
rights, or was it?
Yeah, so you see
it
these
goes against
issues.
unions.
Unions.
You
that's
see
it.
these issues, and so maybe like this is more of a transition to prep Google for a change as opposed to Alphabet being impacted.
probably, I will bet that part of this phase out is they may have been asked to step down, especially after getting caught with something like this. If, let's say, for example, it's not what the rest of the board wants,
Yeah,
and they decide to do it,
or
as
they
CEOs
wanted to step
because-
away, and the board's like, nope,
Yeah, I mean, like.
and they have to
The-
stand their ground somewhere.
The only thing about this that is particularly noteworthy is that the founders of what is essentially the modern search engine, I mean, Larry Page and Sergey Brin were the original owners of Google, the original founders of Google from a college project that they had served and been over top of this from the beginning anyway, and the expansion of what has been Google up to this point. So it's more of a landmark that the two of them are leaving, more so than it is actually something that's going to affect the company. I think Sundar Pichai has a very good idea of what the vision of Alphabet is, which is why he's done so well as the Google CEO for, I don't know, I want to say it's been 5+ years now at least, but he's done well. So it makes sense that he would be the next person to take over Alphabet, which comes from Google, the largest asset and the largest, or has the largest amount of money flow anyway of any of Alphabet's companies.
Yeah.
I kind of want to find out how long he's been
Didn't
serving.
you talk about there were engineers that also left? I thought it was you that was telling me about the engineer. There was like 3 or 4 engineers that ended up leaving.
Not that I know of.
Okay. Well,
But,
to be honest, I don't know what it means, but it is fairly big news when it comes into change. When you change the guard
So
in that stance, you usually have either a lot of leadership leave at the same time, or they're leaving because they have a difference of opinion in which way the company is being led, and they don't want to be a part of it anymore.
I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, they're also to a point with their own lives that they could probably just step back and let it
And
handle
let it
itself
go
and,
its way.
and
I
just
mean-
pull residual off of it for the rest of their lives and live comfortably for
Their
the rest
great
of their lives.
grandchildren would never have to touch a hammer if they didn't want to.
Yep.
Yep.
So it's kind of one of those things where it could be flat out, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And it's like, hey, bro, let's go enjoy the rest of our life.
Yeah.
Or it could be, hey, man, this is something serious, and we'll find out along down the way.
Or
It'd be interesting to find
and if their statement is as true as they set it out to be, then Sundar Pichai probably will be the better person to continue running Alphabet for the rest of its existence.
And if he's already been heavily involved, like you're saying,
He's
then obviously
been-
that much might not even be as much changed.
He has been Google's CEO since October 2nd, 2015.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all of the essentially modern era Google stuff that has come out, that has all been his. Acquisition of Nest and the expansion of Google products from there.
Yeah.
The Pixel devices have all been underneath him. Pretty much
I
everything.
don't know if I claim
And so
that
far,
one.
Google integration has been fairly successful, except for some reason,
Google-
the router system in this house.
Google Home devices, those have all been under
Dude,
him.
yeah, no, and I'm above one. Like, if that's the guy that kind of led that way, let him go to Alphabet. He'll kind of have some say in it. But then I also like welcome, when a new leader comes to Google, a new CEO, like how can they better push boundaries? I mean, and that's
Yeah.
something I've always really liked about Google is they may push a boundary that they don't like want to stay fully invested in, but they push it to a point where other companies have to change.
Oh yeah, Google Fiber was
Yeah.
was a great example of that. Even though they had to take over because nobody decided to step up.
yeah.
Yeah. That was something that
Even
that fell
even to
through
a degree, the cell
Google
phone
Glass.
stuff.
Google Fi. Yeah,
Google Fi.
Google Fi was a good example of, gigabytes aren't that expensive anyway from a wireless perspective. So we give our customers the opportunity to pay ahead of time, and we literally refund you the money back that you don't use in your data.
See, that's a slippery slope for me because it's the same way where Charter's just charging you for every gigabit used, and I'm just like, or I think
It's a slippery
Verizon.
slope, but like you need people like that that are.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Wireless
you
stuff,
just
yeah.
need people like that that are willing to push the boundaries to make change.
Yeah.
It's one thing to talk about change, but it's another one to be a company that's like, hey, we know that those people being the customers can have a better experience. If you're not going to do it, we're going to force you to do it because we have now become your competitor. And then by us being your competitor, you change, and then we're like, it's a lot of
Congratulations,
money.
you're now fighting against a company with unlimited money.
Yeah.
It's funny how you guys know so much about Google because I'm like, I know very few things.
Oh, I'm a Google fanboy. 100%.
Yeah, I know, and it's just
Really
like
good.
I'm learning every time they're talking about it, and I'm like,
I may
okay,
not-
I'm getting it. I get in the Google train.
I may not be a fan of all of their products, but I'm a Google fanboy.
I was super excited when Glass
think
came.
that- I
when
think they
Glass
have-
was announced. I was like, I want that, and
what
then
now?
it turned out not doing much.
What was it?
Google Glass.
Oh, yeah.
The glasses.
With the glasses that I could literally, I could sit in class and
Hey.
watch a movie.
Let me tell you, man, as someone that wears glasses a lot now, I really dream of the day smart glasses are a thing.
Yeah, just like
I can't wait till they make contacts for it.
Well, so
Yeah.
here's the next big play for that, from what I understand. Anyway, is they've tempered glass anyway that goes on the side of computer panels that actually can display images like a monitor.
Yeah.
That would be the next play, anyways, doing overlays like that, especially if you could get it to light up.
Is that going to be Google that
But I
does
mean,
it?
can you
I-
imagine
'cause
the
there's-
attachment to the eye at that point in time?
There's
Having something that close and you trying to focus. I mean,
I think-
nearsightedness is going to be an issue.
I think you have to do it on glasses first.
It's a matter of how you blur it to some extent, maybe, or how you refocus.
I'm
that.
about to say, I would hope that they would make it small enough towards it looks like it's at least far away, but it has to mess with you because you're tricking your brain at that point, like VR does, and that could cause some issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more likely.
I've heard, it's kind of off topic, but like on the glasses subject, I've heard Apple is working on a pair of smart glasses too.
Yep. Yeah. That's been in the rumor mill.
Even
for a
it's
while
like the iPad was created before the iPhone, where they're like, nope, they're not ready for this. We got to start small, and they went with the iPhone first, and then the iPad came later. If I remember correctly.
now. That was
was-
the iPod Touch that also came in behind that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was good as all. I guess it's time for.
Wait, is it?
Is it time?
I don't know. I'm a guest here.
Last
call! Ding, 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 ding.
You don't
Gotta
have
keep
to go
this-
home, but you can't stay here.
Gotta keep the suspense up,
I love it because the last time I did this, I messed up, and he's just looking at me like, "Are you gonna do it again?" I'm like, "Yes, I am. I'm gonna mess it up all over the place, and Brent's gonna love it." So first off, we're gonna introduce our drink. It's our good old 10-year Taylor Flaggate, which someone needs a refill.
Yeah.
It is delectably sweet. It's a port, so it is a dessert wine. Tend to usually not finish bottles of it, but we don't listen to rules and all that social standard behavior. So it's a little bit spicy, which is why I kind of like it. It's got a little bit on the back end, but it's upfront sweet and it has a clean finish.
It's got a solid grape flavor with a little bit of kick.
Yeah, pretty much. It's wine.
It's sweet, like a solid red grape.
The 20 year is also very good. It's also a crisper, cleaner taste, but it's also twice as much. So depends on how much you like port. You can go either way.
Wonderful port.
First off, we're going to give our shout outs as soon as this thing loads.
As he pulls them
We
up.
had our monthly update happen this past week. It teases up for season 2 of Co-op Crew.
Me and this guy over here. If you can tell.
Strange Garage is coming in 2020.
Whoop, whoop.
Get excited.
Separate channel.
And,
check out the video in the description.
Resliance lays down the throne for xphobia as the streamer of the month this month. So check them out. You can reach him.
Twitch.tv/xphobia.
Xphobia.
Thank you, because I knew I was going to misspell that. Everything will be in the notes below. So do you have anything you want to add about Co-op Crew?
Just that it has been a really exciting playthrough thus far. So we kind of teased. So
It's something.
now we can talk about it. It's going to be me and Mark. We're playing through Minecraft. I guess we didn't really give details in the
Just
video. We can talk about
Minecraft or like
it's just Minecraft, vanilla Minecraft. And the goal is me and Mark. We were sitting around, we were brainstorming one day, and we were like, God, what can we do for Co-op Crew? Right? There's so many great games out there. But what can we play? And then
so Minecraft
and-
came up. Like,
yeah,
what do we do with Minecraft?
and we're talking, and Dylan was like, hey, you've never beat Minecraft, right? And I said, no, I've never even enchanted. I've never beat any bosses in Minecraft. And he was like, hey, Mark, have you ever beat Minecraft? And Mark was like, no, I've never beat any bosses. And Dylan's like, that's it, dude. Like, go for it.
I've played Minecraft since the beta, and I've never beaten any of the bosses.
Dude, I'm right there with you. I've never enchanted an item.
Well, for some
to this
people,
day.
it's not about that. It was just there. What people really want to do was to make their own.
Yeah, and back in
Yeah,
the day
yeah.
when I would play with friends, like I would play with Akibab, another one of our streamers. I would play with like Tyler Griffith, I think is how you say his name.
Griffith, yeah.
We would all play Minecraft together, but like I would just end up. They would go mine a bunch of stuff. They would get redstone. They would bring it back, and then I'm gonna automate everything, guys. Bye. Good luck. And so then they would come back, and I would like make gates, and like I made a lighthouse one time that was obnoxiously loud. I'm sure there's a way better way to do it.
And we have all this redstone now, and you haven't done anything with it yet?
I haven't
We'll
done
get
anything
there.
yet.
We'll get
But you know, so we decided this would be a great thing, and like I've been having a blast. I'm super psyched into it. Like I'm sure
Yep.
I annoy Mark so much. I'm like, hey, when are you coming home? Like we need to play more. Like, are we playing tonight? What are we doing?
The best one was whenever we decided we were going to do two episodes recorded in one sitting. We've done that twice now.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Where it's just
That's
we
called
get
efficiency.
so into it within the first time or the first episode anyway. We're just like, all right, screw it. We're just gonna go straight in the second.
That's
Yeah, dude.
awesome.
And it's a great experience. So I really hope that when the product comes out, everyone enjoys it.
Yeah, I'm excited for all of you to see it.
Yeah.
So co-op crew season 2 coming. You want to talk anything about Strange Garage?
Oh, Strange Garage. I'm super excited because this has been my entry into dirt bikes. I haven't ever really ridden dirt bikes in my life, that kind of thing. I don't know what that was, but
Trying to remove myself from dirt biking. They keep trying to rope me in.
yeah, we can get him in on
You
it.
don't
You know,
like dirt
maybe you'll
bikes?
see him on an
If
episode
this
of Strange
video
Garage.
gets 2,000 likes, I'll be on Strange Garage riding a dirt bike.
That sounds like something we should film.
I'm just saying, I'm going to link this video on Reddit now.
You can't self promote.
Aww.
What? Okay, I'll hand it to Dylan.
Well, he's in it too.
No. Talk about the podcast.
You still got to get
He's not in the
2,000 likes.
podcast.
There's
You
no
just
way
got to get the
2,000
views on
likes.
the podcast, not on that.
You 2,000 likes. Thumbs up. Thumbs
Okay.
up.
All right,
Hey,
let's
you know,
see if we get
I'll make it a combo.
That'll
2,000
be
up or down.
that'll be worth
up or down. Okay.
Up or down.
that'll
Combo.
be worth the $40 to bot farm it.
Don't
I'm
forget
not
to.
actually going to bot farm it. Let's be clear here.
Yeah, buddy. I mean, I don't know if you want to say that.
So the only
But
thing you're
anyway,
going to be working on the bikes this season?
So yeah, I have a 1997. I know it says 99 in the video, but that's because we legitimately didn't know what year it was at the time. But I have a 1997 Yamaha YZ125 that has. It really needed a lot of work.
Yeah, it
Bearings
did.
were out. It wouldn't start. There's a ton of things wrong with it. So we cleaned her up, new parts, all kinds of stuff. There's a whole series on us rebuilding it from the ground up, literally pulling the motor out, taking the frame, pressure washing the whole like everything has been worked on that. Plus, there's also some other things where we were swapping a clutch on a different bike anyway with our buddy Russell, and some other things that are going to be coming. I'm super excited for it. It's going to be in a separate channel. We'll send out links and all that stuff whenever
For
that's
all
gets
you
set up.
nerdy gearheads out there, check them out.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget to check out our monthly update so you can see how Resliance hands down the crown. And we head off to the question of the week. And since we've been talking about PlayStation and Google and all these fun toys, what did you guys buy on Black Friday?
You want me
We'll
to
start out with you, Kat.
Start,
bud.
me? Okay. Normally, the guest gets to give the big finale, but that's fine. It's fine.
We're trying to be polite here. Let
Yeah.
you go first.
That's
Absolutely.
fine. Hey, it's your show, man. I'm
Mine's
here.
boring, so I'm going to go in the middle.
It was boring. So actually, like,
Tampons.
so I it's one of those things where like I am by no means like wealthy or anything, but actually on my what I got this last Friday was like the most I've ever gotten on Black Friday.
Oh, wow.
Right, and so it was crazy because
So
like
you went all in, full Monty.
yeah, unfortunately yes, but it was just certain deals lined up, and I spent more money than I had planned to. But it's like I'm fortunate enough to be in a situation where like I can do that and I can have time to recover.
Yep.
So so what I got this Black Friday was my gaming chair that I use now has been creaking a whole lot. Like it's been annoying me endlessly, and I feel like I've had it a couple of years now. It's probably getting to the end of its life. A gaming chair went on sale that I really liked, so I got the Secret Lab Titan Omega chair. It was,
Sounds important and big and flashy.
well,
It
it's made
very
for
much is.
big people like me, so woo. But it was like it was like $135
Too
off,
fat.
so it was like a 30% off sale. I had to do it.
Yeah.
I've been talking about
a big
stream
savings right there.
Elgato Stream Decks for a while. I think they're fascinating, and I've always wanted to have one to play with and use it. I didn't buy it last Black Friday. I chickened out, and then I was like, you know what, like I want this. I've wanted this for a long time. I'm gonna get it, play with it. I really enjoyed it thus far. So I got that. That was $100. And then when I thought I was done with those 2 purchases, I think it was yesterday, right? No, it's yesterday or 2 days ago.
Man, you're gonna go all the way. To the
Dylan
end.
in his super influential way, like I swear if this guy was a drug dealer, he'd be loaded. He sends me a message and he's like, "Hey, by the way, this really nice camera's on sale for like 44% off. You should get it." I've never seen it this cheap, honestly. And he's just like whispering into my ear, basically.
I want you to get it so I don't have to, so I can play with it.
That came after I had probed him a little bit about how what the A6000 and all that stuff, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's a great camera. That's what I got right here. Actually, it's the other camera what we used to shoot the podcast on. Actually."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh wow, that's okay. Yeah, that's actually a really good deal. That kind of thing." So I was looking. I was like, "I don't know if I'm going to do it." And then he's like, "Yeah, I think Kepley just pulled the trigger on it." And I was like, "What? What?" That was like the next day. He was like, "Yeah, I think Kepley bought one." I was like,
That's exactly what
all right.
he messaged me and he was like, "Yeah, by the way, this camera's on sale." And I was like, "Dude," I was like, "I just spent all this money," And I was like, "Do I really need this?" Blah blah. He's like, "Yeah, dude, I'm just letting you know it's on sale. Like, you can do whatever you want."
Yeah, man.
And then I'm like,
Think about it for next year. I mean,
So
do you need it right now,
so,
or you need it
so
later?
exactly what I did was I pulled up my bank account and I said, I'm in a pretty sweet spot right now. Like, I'm okay. I'm just gonna get the freaking camera. I'll just get the camera. And then like I was texting my mom, because like that's my financial advisor for everyone that doesn't know. So I'm like, "Yeah, Mom, like this camera. I just bought this chair. I spent this much money. This camera's on sale." And of course, she's just like the most nonchalant person ever. She's like, "Well, honey, if you can afford it, just don't go in debt for it." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's like a really good sale." She's like, "Yeah, just wait till Christmas. It might be cheaper." And I was like, "Yeah, Dylan explicitly said this is the cheapest he's ever seen it."
Yeah, Black Friday sales are there for a reason.
part of it is that the new version just came out. The A6500 just got
Yeah,
See, the
and,
thing
and
about
Dylan
Black
creeps
Friday
on
is
sales a lot.
It's
so.
an excuse for them to sell it cheaper as a sale without cheapening their product because the price goes up right after the fact. If that didn't go back up, it wouldn't be worth that much.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy it. So I bought, those are my 3 big purchases.
Hey, man.
Before that, I mean, like last Black Friday, I don't think I bought anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, mine's a big old. I
Big old
bought
goose egg?
nothing.
Nothing.
Big old goose egg, baby.
Honestly,
I
that's
don't
impressive.
jump on that hype train mainly because I don't need anything right now. Johnny's saving up for a PS5 coming up next year.
Okay.
And I've actually been kind of splooging on the games a little bit this year. I platinum at least 10 games, but I probably bought at least 10 games too. That's not including the PS Plus games I played. So, that's $600 right there.
Yep.
In totality. I mean, it's not cheap.
Okay.
And I'm looking at I'm actually getting rid of stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this material culture. I just want to kind of get rid of all this stuff that I don't need. And if I find something next year, cool.
Okay. Did you finally get rid of that useless Vita?
No, I actually have 2 now.
Just too. He must have bought
Material
Brent's because
culture.
Brent probably came along and was like, honestly, this is
the
terrible.
problem is I bought one for Brent for his wedding gift. As a wedding gift. It was
Spoiler.
that Danganronpa on the back of it. He's already married. He already got it. It's been a year now. You were at the wedding. But had Danganronpa on the back, special edition. He always wanted a white Vita, so I got him the white Vita, and I got the black version.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But so no, the Vitas are still alive and well and groomed and full of games for me to play.
Material culture.
Yeah.
They were $350 and straight from Japan, so it was not cheap.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've splooged in the past. I'm just usually very frugal.
Okay. Well, my Black Friday was about as fruitful as Kepley's over there.
Hey.
So I started out with what I thought was going to be a pretty light Black Friday.
I want you guys to know he makes 10 times my income, so this better be a great story.
It's not actually 10. Why do you guys keep inflating it like that? No.
He's the richest man.
This guy gets severance packages.
That's. You guys are gonna give me a migraine. Anyway, no, I started out with hoping to start off really small for Black Friday. Anyway, like I wasn't really gonna spend a whole lot, that kind of thing. And then I saw a couple of things that I particularly
And
wanted.
that's how it happens.
Yeah. No, so I was browsing around on Amazon a little bit. I got new SD cards, 2 new SD cards anyway, one of which we're actually using for the audio for this podcast. I got a wonderful SD card case to finally track all of them because
they're everywhere and anywhere at any point in time.
2 or
it's
3
like Schrodinger's cat.
2
How
or
much
3
was
times.
that?
This was like $8.
Is it still $8? You
I
send
have
that
no
to me.
idea.
Send me that link.
Okay. But 2 or 3 times now,
Is this like
I have had an SD
EMP
card.
proof?
No.
Oh,
It's just like a cheap plastic case.
EMP proof.
But 2 or 3 times now, anyway, I've had SD cards that we've used for the podcast, and I've lost them. Like, I don't know where the hell they have gone. So the idea is that I'm going to record the podcast. Then I'm going to take it out of there, and I'm going to put it in this case until I'm ready to pull the files off of it. Then I'm going to pull it out of there, pull the files off of it, and put it back.
now this is a hot case because you have to understand, like, and you can get it close if you want, but right in here, he's got a nano SIM spot, MSD, and micro SIM in every single one of these, and they can fit in there. And then the SD card fits on top of that. So you have a maximum, like, if you had like 120 gig or 128 gig SD cards, you could be holding in there like 20 terabytes by the time you're done. There's a 1 terabyte SD card now.
Yeah.
That thing.
I think I got a 128 SD card for my camera.
Yeah, and then
I got a 250 something for my Switch.
And then over top of all
400.
that, there's a slot for an XQD card, actually, on top of the 2 SIMs. There's also a slot for a larger card.
I'm kind of nerdy. I don't even know what that is. So
I can't remember what it is. It's I think it was a Sony proprietary or something. But anyway, so case, new SD cards. I got a new pair of jeans. Levi's were on sale for like $30, so I decided I was going to get myself some new jeans, different
Can't wait
colors
for you to
too.
get older so you can start buying the Luckies so they stretch a little bit when you get fatter.
I mean, the ones
fuller,
that I got were the
first.
Levi 511s, which are like the straight slim cuts or whatever. Like, I like the cut; it fits me well, that kind of thing, and it gets a little baggier on the bottom, which I like. So, but they also have like a full stretch material in the denim.
Ooh,
Hey,
yes.
honestly, that's what I should have done. I should have went to Old Navy. I love Old Navy jeans.
Yeah.
I need a couple more pairs.
So I picked up some of those. Picked up the SD card, picked up the case.
Yeah.
The next big purchase that I made anyway that just sort of popped up that I remembered was something I wanted. No, I'll get there in a second.
Oh,
but the first big purchase I made actually was a new radio unit for the car, which we were working on actually before the podcast anyway, and trying to get the wires on it. So I bought a Kenwood.
If it's not a Tesla one, dude, don't even talk to me.
I can't for an old 2003
Dude, that
Hyundai.
touch screen would be hot.
I have to say the resale
don't
value on
make
that
something
car
like
would
that.
skyrocket.
No, it wouldn't. The radio that I'm putting in, it's already worth more than the car put together.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
That's alarming.
The car is worth less
people
than
would buy
$100
it for that and then strip the car and take that out.
Literally stripping the car is more worth selling the car.
Someone
as
breaks
one
in
piece.
Mark's car and like hits his radio, totaled.
Actually, he's not wrong. I mean, no, but I found a pretty good discount on that. They were about 30 to 40% off, that kind of thing. It's like $100 some off of it. So I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, so like I have an Android Auto capable radio that's going to be in the car now.
Which is
With a
that's
full
quality of
like
life
full
thing,
size touchceen, Spotify integration in it, like all kinds of stuff. Like
It's the car
Which
you're
is
spending
great
the most
because
time
that car went from no audio, right?
literally, yeah.
Yeah.
The radio right now, I have to have the fuse pulled because it doesn't turn off with the car.
Oh, that's cool.
If you turn the car on, or if you put the
It'll
fuse back
drain your
in
battery.
with the car off, the radio will still stay on.
That's awesome.
It's my dad's old car, so like he's the one who
Man.
had to tell me about that. But
Well, I mean, you're in that car and you travel a lot in it. It's your back and forth car, so I mean, yeah, it's worth having the radio in there, man.
yep, exactly.
Yeah,
And
tunes.
Android Auto, since I've used that, I don't think I want to have another car without it. So
Yeah,
definitely a must-have for me. Then the last big purchase, anyway, is because,
coup de grace,
like I
they
said,
say.
I had looked up and said, "Oh, I asked Dylan about the A6000." He's like, "Yeah, wow, that's actually a really good deal for a great camera, that kind of thing." So it was like, "All right, fine, I'll get the camera." So
And so we got 2 more cameras in the house, baby. Production.
Wow,
going
we
up.
won't even have to move that thing anymore. It'll just sit there.
actually, quite literally, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Nice.
only other thing I'm going to need to get is a new tripod, but yeah, other than that, we're going to have ourselves a new permanently fixed piece of a camera, other than the fact that we have to move it upstairs and down. But nonetheless, anyway, I'm looking to have a nice new camera to go with it. Started to look at lenses because I don't know if you know, but there's the Sony lenses, which are all $300+, and then there are the cheaper versions of those lenses, which actually I'm looking at picking up one specifically for this podcast, trying to get the metrics right for the podcast so that we can actually get a proper in focus, out of focus kind of effect.
Cool, awesome.
So I'm really trying to throw in the bokeh if I can, for those who know what bokeh effect or
Thank God
bokeh
Money
is.
Man's the one over here getting all the expensive, nice lenses.
Well, it's one of those things where like
No, I'm trying to buy the cheap
it
lenses.
makes so much sense for this
Still
household
more expensive than I want to pay.
because like for so long, it mainly impacted us a lot when Brandon moved to California because Brandon was the other camera guy.
Yeah.
Predator
we've all-
4010.
Yep. So we've always just had Dylan, with his 2 cameras since he's left, and so for me it's like I've always wanted a camera, I've always wanted to learn it, and so like now we have cameras, we can like as a house really like achieve anything we want to now.
Yeah.
So we
We can do multi-angles of
Yeah.
literally anything and everything now because we all have roughly the same or better high-quality cameras.
Yep. And so with just vision and like thinking about stuff, like even with this podcast, I know, I don't know if you guys ever talked about it, but like there's the rumor of a new table, right?
Oh,
that
yeah.
may come one day. It's like
It's
you
coming.
can really modify that
Past this
table to where like with 2 cameras now, at our disposal, we could create like way better production. Not that this is bad, but I'm saying we create like even better.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the whole point is to get better. Figure out what we like, what we don't like, accentuate the important things, and then
Or as we like to say, the important.
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 Hit the button. I'm only at 1. I got to catch up. You guys are 3. God, I'm never gonna catch up at this rate.
Nope. Hell no, you're not. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Let us know what you guys got on Black Friday. Is it sentimental? Is it something that you've always wanted, or is it just a impulse buy? Or did you buy anything at all? Are you with the frugal guys? Let us know in the comments above, and that is
Don't
for you, Brent.
Do that. No.
That is for you.
Below.
Also for you, Brent, because you critique everything we ever do. We didn't clink clank in the beginning.
Oh, son of a bitch. I knew I had to forget something. Damn son of a bitch. Oh, beep, beep, beep. All right, here we go. Clink, clank, clunk, everybody.
Clink clank clank. Thank you
Clink,
guys for inviting
clank.
me. Love you guys.
Me too.